Senator Cantwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last night, Madam Secretary, we moved to go to conference on the U.S. Innovation and Competition Act. And one of the provisions in the Senate bill is providing DOE with $17 billion in increase in authorization over 5 years. Do you support increasing funding for cutting-edge R&D at our national labs and increasing the capacity in many areas to the types of research that we need to do in conjunction with what we're doing with the National Science Foundation?
Yes, ma'am. We certainly need to continue to invest in our cutting-edge research through the 17 national labs.
Okay. One of our priorities as a nation is cleaning up the Hanford Reservation. It's one of the most contaminated sites in the Western Hemisphere, and I'm disappointed at President's budget request. It's lower than the current spending level. And I believe when you were here before us, you provided information about what you were willing to support to make sure that you were meeting the tri-party agreement, the agreement that keeps milestones, that make sure that our funding levels meet those milestones on cleanup. So what is the tri-party agreement compliance number for fiscal year 2023?
The number for 2022 was $3.3 billion. The number for 2023 will be above that. Obviously, we want to complete the framework discussions with you on the budget, and we know that the number that we have requested at $2.5 billion, which is a big number. It's the biggest number of EM, but we know that this is a framework, and we want to work with you on it.
So you're saying it doesn't meet that milestone, at least last year's milestone, and we need to keep working on that number?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. I know you've been busy on many fronts as it relates to what's going on in Ukraine and had to pull out of a visit to the Hanford site, but we want to welcome you, the chairman, the ranking member, anytime to please visit the Hanford site and to visit the national labs that are there as well, because there's so much work going on at our national labs that we want to make sure that people, and particularly in the area of cybersecurity, their expertise is amazing, and I feel like we need to continue to do more to make sure that our electricity grid is protected. As we see from what's happening on the international front, we need to keep taking every step possible to make sure that we have the next generation of technologies to help us. I also wanted to ask you about continuing to look at ways to scale commercialization of technologies for like long-haul trucks, for example. Is there a way to construct incentives to speed the adoption of transportation electrification? We're seeing companies like PACCAR and others dealing with obviously the chip shortage, but they are helping to make a product more affordable, either in lightweight materials, but also in making sure that we have something that is a tech-neutral manufacturing incentive. So do you agree that there are opportunities for us to move more quickly in this area?
Absolutely, and I hope that Congress considers that very soon. The time is fleeting, and that's not just on battery or on vehicle manufacturing, but on the whole suite of energy generation.
Okay, and also you provided a video. We were just out at the grid launch pad groundbreaking, and we hope that you will come to look at that in the future. The launch pad, we think, is the scalable level of battery technology storage that we need to have. So I want to make sure that we are continuing to support those kinds of efforts at the Department of Energy.
1,000%, both on transportation storage as well as grid storage. Both have to happen. The Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Office is doing the research on that. The labs are working. I mean, obviously, PNNL is a classic example of a lab that is being on the forefront on grid storage. Other labs are doing that as well, but they all work together. And of course, the funding that the bipartisan infrastructure law provided, both on vehicle as well as grid storage, is going to be critical in moving us forward. Thank you so much for that investment, because it will allow the technology that's being researched at PNNL and grid storage to be able to be taken to commercial scale outside of the labs.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Senator Langford.